Hello and welcome to the Fig Tree Generation, where we strive to be a light of the Most High. We are interested in being venerated as saints. Join us for a quest for the truth.
Shalom, shalom.
Hi,
Welcome
Shalom.
back to the Fig Tree Generation. How have you been?
I've been good. I feel very sleepy today.
Yes, it is Sabbath today for us, and we are just relaxing today. We've been on the couch reading most of the day, and teaching our boys, talking about Yah's, truly meditating day and night on the Torah, and we love that. That's how Yah has changed our lives. If you're new here, I say this all the time, I'm just going to say it again. Here on this channel, we are interested in being venerated as saints. So to become a saint, you have to keep the commandments of Elohim and the testimony of Yeshua. It's two things required. That's what we want to do in our life. That's what we believe the whole scripture is all about, and teaching. That's the whole duty of man, is to fear Elohim and keep his commandments. And if you want to have a free entry into paradise, despite your evil works you've done on this earth, you better have the testimony of Yeshua. It's by his righteousness. He is the gate. It's by his righteousness, by his blood, that our sins can be covered. We can enter paradise. He's been given the keys to paradise. What an amazing thing. I'm not so sure we go into Sheol when we're done. I think at one point we did. Maybe we can avoid Sheol and go straight to paradise. I think scripture can I think we could prove that with scripture. But that's just a thought. Also, we are interested in being salt upon the earth. I want to be salty. I don't know about you, but I don't want to mix in with the crowd. The crowd's doing the exact same thing all over the earth. And it's kind of annoying. I want to be salty. I want to be different,
You don't want to be bland or, flavorless.
Yeah. Salt does two things. It flavors food, right? It's flavor. It also is a preservative. So we are to preserve. If you want to be salt upon the earth, you are to preserve the word through the earth. Preserve truth, preserve wisdom. There will be a time when wisdom will hide itself, where the men and women of wisdom will hide themselves, and men of no understanding will seek it out and try to find it. And they'll say, where has wisdom hidden itself? Where has it gone? It's no longer on YouTube. What happened to it? It's gone. We can't find people talking about wisdom anymore. AI has changed everything, there'll be a time when it's gone. So it's our job to preserve it here on the earth, to bring on the kingdom. We also want to be a light. So we're here on this channel to be a light into the nations, just as Yeshua is the light into the nations. A light is Proverbs 6:23. The commandment is a lamp, and the Torah is the light. It's the instructions of the Most High, all of them, the precepts, the testimonies, the statutes, the commandments, all of them. Not one jot or tittle. They're all to be kept, to be a light. These are the things that we should be teaching to one another. Yeshua himself said, go and make disciples amongst all the nations. Well, how do you make a disciple without something to discipline people with? There has to be an instruction manual. There has to be something to discipline your own life with. One standard, yeah. We were talking about this morning. If each man, we want to change this world. This world's wicked. It's so evil. We're headed for destruction. If we want to change the world, it begins inside of here. It begins in each man's heart. That's my heart right here. Yeah, this side. But anyways, each man should look in his own heart and change his ways, not according to what he thinks is right or wrong, or what his church thinks is right or wrong. There's a standard. There is a set of rules that was delivered down from the Shemaims by angels, by the hands of angels, written by the hand of Elohim on the sapphire stones of the covenant. These are beautiful, beautiful instructions for mankind. And they've always been here. They've been here since the beginning. And they've been reissued multiple times throughout humanity. And they've been given to multiple different people. There's, I think it's within the Targum, they were given to the sons of Edom, the sons of Esau. first. They were given to Ishmaelites as well. And neither one have accepted them. It was Israel who took on the covenant. And we find that too. We were reading, I think, in Deuteronomy, where the Moabites had an inheritance as well, along with the Edomites. They all had inheritance, and they all went astray, just like Israel.
Yeah.
So, we as grafted in, whatever we are, whether we're Gentiles, we're a mixed breed, but we're grafted into the cultivated olive tree. So right now, being grafted in, let us watch and be very careful that we aren't cut off like the original branches. The original branches were cut off because of unbelief. They didn't believe Moses. Moses came down with the instructions. They didn't follow it because they didn't believe it. So we have the instructions now. Are you going to believe? Are you going to be like the original branches that were cut off? Or are you going to be a righteous fruit? A righteous plant? So anyways.
Yeah, that makes me think of something David says. This is in Psalms 112. You talked about fearing Yah, keeping His commands. Basically, what Solomon, David's son, reiterates in Ecclesiastes 12, I think, 13, about the whole duty of man. But I love the Aramaic version of Scripture. It just adds a little bit more depth and understanding, I feel like, to passages in the Bible. And anyway, so I just want to quickly read this if I can, because there's just a few verses that kind of makes me think about what you just described, and keeping the instructions, having that rule book, if you will, by which we not only governs our lives, but also instructs and governs our children's lives. And it says, "Happy is the man who fears Yahuwah. He takes great pleasure in His commandments. His children will be mighty in the Torah. He will be blessed in the generation of the upright." You talked about light. This says, "Light dawns in darkness for the upright, gracious, and merciful, and righteous. He will not fear news of disaster. His heart is firm, trusting in the word of Yahuwah." There's a lot of uncertainty, I feel like, today. You just said we're on a path of destruction.
Sure.
This nation is.
News of disaster daily.
This world is on a path of destruction. And I think the one thing that we know is true, that we can hold fast to what is, like, true. And is it Paul that says, like, think on things that are pure and lovely and true. But I think beyond that, we can hold on to Yah's word as truth. No matter the darkness, because light dawns in darkness, no matter the news that comes, that we're constantly bombarded with, or the disaster that we're constantly hearing about across the world. Like, the one thing that we know is true is obviously Yah's in control, but we are commanded, no matter what we're going through, to fear Him, to keep His commands, and to teach our children to do the same. And that's all throughout Deuteronomy. David reiterates it here. it's all throughout Scripture, to fear Yah, to keep His commands, and happy is the man who does this. So that's also, I feel like, where there's joy that comes. That's that joy that you talk about a lot. I feel like it's not circumstantial. It doesn't waver. Joy doesn't waver despite your circumstances. Joy remains, whether you're having a good day or a bad day, whether you're in the middle of a trial or you're not, whether you feel the weight of the world on your shoulders, so to speak, from what's around you. That joy is there because you know what His word says, and we can hold fast to that truth, and we'll be blessed by it.
Yeah.
And there will be joy that will come from it, and we will bear good fruit, and we will be on this path of righteousness. I don't know. I just, like, you're talking about that, I love this passage because it's so true. It's it doesn't mean that the path of the righteous is easy, but it's what we're called to do. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at anyone who got a book in the Bible or wrote a book in the Bible, they had horrible lives.
Yeah.
I can't think of anyone who was like so blessed and had an amazing life. I mean, all of them talk about their struggles and their trials and their tribulations. This world is meant for testing. It's to prove the endurance of the set apart. It's to prove your endurance and your faith in Yahuwah, in His ways. There's no proving of you in this world if you love things that are against the Torah. If you love to eat whatever you want, you'll probably do it for 70 years, 80 years and be fine.
Yeah.
If you love to anything, if you love not to keep the Sabbath, Yah's going to let you, But if you love these things, if you love Yah's ways and you want to try to keep his Torah, you're going to be tested. You're going to be tried because his ways are set apart. They're set apart for a reason. They're not just for everyone. And if you have received it, you will go through testing because the devil wants to test you. He wants to try you to show that you are not a Kodashim. And that's when we have to prove ourselves basically to Yah. We have to prove our faith to Yahuwah. The great thing is this is a test. This is a test. This is only a test, but it's an open book test. This life is an open book test. You have the instructions. You have a way to righteousness right now. And we can sit here and we can run our life haphazardly and just try to complete the task, or we can actually read the instruction book and understand the different aspects of sin and transgression and what that means and what holiness means. How do you determine and define these things without the Torah? It's interesting when you're conversing with a Christian or anyone, it's simple definitions. What sin is, what's righteousness, these things, what is truth? These things are
enigmas.
Yeah, they'll give you a definition, but it's based on their own words.
Scripture.
It's not scripture. So when we define these things with scripture, just simple definitions, it is clear that the Torah is forever. And so
something that you said this morning that I wanted to come back to as we were studying Enoch. I don't even know how we got into it or what we were reading, but we were talking about, the two great commands. The greatest command being to love Yah with all your heart, soul, and mind. Yeshua says this, right? And then the second greatest is to love your neighbor, basically love one another.
Yeah.
And then it says on which these two commands, hang. All the commands hang on these two. But do you remember what you were saying this morning about that? And just
we were talking about, I think we were talking about the calendar. If you're in the Torah movement, I don't say Torah movement, but people coming back to the ways of Yah. This has happened throughout history, by the way. It's nothing new. Whenever a remnant needs to be established, there's about to be destruction. A remnant is established. The remnant is called out to keep the commandments. It's all throughout history. You can find it everywhere, and it's all throughout Scripture as well. Yeah. Okay. So when you have people coming out of Torah, are coming out to Torah, to follow Torah, get my words right, the calendar is an issue. We fight about the calendar. We try to understand the calendar. But when we're really thinking about it, all the commands hang on these two that we talk about, or that you just mentioned. And, the weightier matters are you going to love your brother, your neighbor, as yourself? Are you going to love Yahuwah with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength? Of course, the only way to do that is to keep the commandments. That's in 1 John. To do both of those. You can't love your neighbor without keeping the commandments. You cannot love Yah without keeping the commandments. So they all are encompassing of each other, but we spend so much time arguing about millennial kingdom, arguing about the calendar, arguing about unclean and clean, when these things are not the weightier matters. How many of us, believe we have the right calendar, yet at the same time hate our brother or hate our neighbor?
We wouldn't say that we hate our neighbor or hate our brother, but our fruit might show otherwise, right?
Sure, yeah. These are the most important things, and the calendar is kind of the least important. This isn't a calendar video. We could talk about.
We're just using it as an example.
Yeah, we could talk about why we believe it has been hidden. I believe there is historical evidence, at least twice, that it's been hidden. But it's not about calendar.
It's not about the calendar.
Anyways, I think when we're
encouraging.
Yeah, I think we are encouraging. I think when we talk about, if you're a Torah follower right now, evaluate your own life. Okay, we all have a beam in our own eye. Okay, Stop evaluating the speck in your brother's eye.
Yeah.
And we've all been on the receiving end of accusations. The accuser comes, the Satans. They love to pop up and become a Satan and accuse you of many things.
That's what we were reading,
Yeah. And this is like, we would love to fight back. We love vengeance. I want to take vengeance. I can say this or say that. But the thing is we all have a beam in our own eye. We all have something we need to cleanse out of ourselves. We talk about this all the time with demons, with Clement. Talks about a man should be focused on his own demon. He has no time to be focused on the demons of his brother until he focuses on his own demon.
Yeah.
And the problem is, most people, it takes a lifetime to rid themselves of their demons. And I say that, people go, oh my goodness, you're a Christian, you can't have a demon. Yes, you can. They will try to get on you, even on the faithful. They can't stay as long with the faithful, but they will try. So anyways, I think that's something we can get on to what the topic we're going to talk about.
It just seems to be, it's a burden for me. Okay. I'll just say that it's a burden.
We could do a whole video on this.
Yeah, I could do a whole video on this, but it's a burden for me. The division that I see, I've been on the receiving end of it. You have too. Just people wanting to argue and fight for the sake of, for the sake of being right. And I am not interested in being right, and I'm not interested in debating those things. I'm just not. And so I say all that because it's like, we are all, so many of these things, the calendar, millennial kingdom, whatever, insert whatever your passion is, that is, they're treasure hunts. They are beautiful treasure hunts that we're all like excited about, and we should be joining one another on these treasure hunts and helping one another and encouraging one another. And instead we're tearing each other apart because of like our dogmatic, absolute authoritative position on certain things. And quite frankly, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I guess I've just felt so much of that, not just recently, but over time. And yeah, maybe it sounds like we're beating a dead horse, so to speak, with this constantly coming up. But I think we need to shine a light on these things and stop, trying to, debate or divide, or to say, well, if you're not on the right calendar, you're not going to be as blessed, or you're going to, if you're not on the right Sabbath, you're not going to be as blessed. Just stop that. Okay. Truly, go. Okay. I just looked it up in a Nehemiah, or not even in Nehemiah. And we're going to jump onto this subject, but Nehemiah is like beckoning and praying, which Nehemiah means Yahweh has compassion. Okay. So Yahweh has so much compassion and so much mercy, but Nehemiah is praying to Yah. He is begging for forgiveness for not only his sins and the sins of his fathers, but the sins of the nation, the sin of Israel. And he's talking about how corruptly, it starts to sound familiar, right, to our own lives and to our own generation, but that we have acted corruptly against the Most High. We've not guarded or kept his commands, his right rulings, his laws that were commanded, all of those commands that were given to Moses. That's what he says, to your servant Moses. And he says, please remember us, because he says he's going to scatter. He says he's going to scatter his people. But if we turn back and we do the commands and we guard them, he's going to regather us. He's going to bring us to a place that he has chosen, and he'll make his name dwell there. He's so merciful. But I just it's like what you said, we just need to be focused on ourselves, our family, training our children, instructing our children. But we have so much to work on. We have so much in our own house to clean up and to get right and to get in order, that I feel like Yah is so merciful, and he wants us just to come back as little children and just follow him as little children and to love him just like our children love us. And our children are so merciful. Our children are so understanding. Nothing bothers them or phases them, I feel like, Yep. Anyways, I'm sorry.
Unless you don't get their food on time, they get upset. They're hungry all the time.
Okay, we'll just move on.
Okay.
Fear Yah, keep his commands, and love your brother. Okay.
Yeah, keep the testimony of Yeshua.
Keep the testimony of Yeshua. All those things.
It's pretty simple.
Not in that order.
It's pretty simple. It's not a lot, But all right. So I titled this video. I've already decided what I'm going to title it. So
He told me right before we hit record.
yeah, because okay, so this has been on my mind for well over a year. We've been talking about this, and a lot of times when we have this thought or this idea, we kind of, I think we should keep it, quiet, not really speak it, not say it immediately, and kind of just sit on it for a while and kind of wait till more information comes to it. Okay, because you can't, it's not.
I'm listening.
Oh, okay. It's not like something that you should just blurt out. Okay, you should keep it to yourself and try to figure out, see if you can actually prove it, see if it's something that can be proved. So we're going to talk about a little season. I know that if you're in this millennial kingdom kind of idea, time frame, and all this stuff, we all believe we're in the little season right now. And I've believed that too. And I still am kind of there maybe. And I'm totally okay if we're still in the little season, by the way. Or if the millennial kingdom hasn't even happened. I don't care. I think it's amazing. It's so much fun to study out. I absolutely love studying out prophecy. I have since I was a kid. But dealing with the little season, we have very little written. We have Revelations mentioned twice in Revelation 20. And then we have possibly somewhere in Baruch, where it talks, second Baruch, it does talk about a time when evilness will come back. It's basically after the millennial kingdom, there'll be a time of evilness will come back. This points to a kind of a little season time frame. Okay. And so this idea of little season, we can read Revelation 20 real quick just to give some backlog on it. We've done a ton of videos on this subject. How long is the little season? Millennial kingdom, all this stuff. Just go back before our Daniel study that we just did, and just check.
Scroll a lot.
Yeah, you have to scroll a lot, but just go back to those videos. There's a lot of millennial kingdom videos. We've been studying this out for a while, but I've just ran across so much information that I just feel like it's over. Okay, so Revelation 20. What's that? I don't have my Bible in front of me, but just the verse of the little season.
Yeah.
Is it 7?
And he threw, okay, let me start from the beginning, verse 1. And I saw a messenger coming down from the heaven, having the key to the pit of the deep and a great chain in his hand. And he seized the dragon, the serpent of old, who is the devil and Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years. And he threw him into the pit of the deep and shut him up and set a seal on him, so that he should lead the nations no more astray until the 1,000 years were ended. And after that, he has to be released for a little while.
Okay, so okay, yours says a little while, but so I think let's just kind of look at this. We are all trying to determine how long is this little season. First of all, Hasatan has been chained up many times. It's recorded that he was chained up when in Egypt, when Joseph was in Egypt. He was also chained up. I think it's the Epistle of Barnabas, not the Gospel of Barnabas, a very different book, but Epistle of Barnabas talks about that he was chained up after the crucifixion for a little bit. And there are multiple places. There's even a passage in John Mandeville. I don't know. I'm actually going to quote from that as well. The Travels of Sir John Mandeville is written in the 1200s. It's a cartographer. He was a cartographer and traveler that wrote in the 1200s. He also says there is a place where Satan is bound on the earth. You can actually go there. There's evil spirits there. It's not a fun place to be. I forget exactly this location, but to this day, it is a place for witches, where witches will go and demons will congregate. I think it's in Switzerland. I might be mistaken, but
CERN?
No, CERN. No. It's in Switzerland, but it's a.
Is that where they put that? Go ahead.
It's in Switzerland, but it's a place where you can go to this day. It's a huge park, and I think it's named Satan's Park. It's something crazy. But anyways, that's not what it's about. I would have had that prepared if I, knew I was going to say that. But anyways, there are multiple times, at least that we have found, and I'm sure there's even more where Satan is bound. So it's not just, one time, just 1,000 years, and then he's out.
Which I think lends itself to the whole idea of so much of prophecy is cyclical too. Like there being more than one Exodus, like there's not just a second coming of Yeshua. I mean, there's so many things that we think are very like finite, definitive, like it's going to happen once and then again and that's it.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's true with even just with Well, what I was going to say is, yeah, it's cyclical, but I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, but you were just saying like there are many times like this isn't just this where he is bound. This is the only time in the timeline of humanity or history where it happens. It's happened before.
I mean, these things are cyclical. To understand prophecy, I mean, we can't. I think when we try to look, and look, I've looked at prophecy my whole life. I've loved it, and I've written down timelines my whole life. And when we look at these timelines, I do believe they're chronological. The things in Revelation, things in Ezekiel, Isaiah, like multiple all throughout the prophets. These things are chronological, but I don't think they're specific, exact times. I think they could actually, like you said, they could be cyclical, and I do believe they are. They happen multiple times. I also think they overlap. So even the binding of Satan for 1,000 years could overlap the 1,000-year reign by 500 years. Yeah. It could be. It doesn't have to be at the exact same time. I think the more we read prophecy and take a step back and try to open our mind and try to understand it in kind of a different light, the more we're allowing different information in. When we say, nope, this is it, this is how it is, we've all of a sudden excluded so many more writings. There are tons, literally hundreds of prophetic writings, whether Christian prophecy, Jewish prophecy, this is all post, first century, and even pre-Messiah, there are plenty of Jewish prophecies that are not part of the canon. And so we're reading these things like, how did these things fit in? Do we do anything with these? Yeah. Do we, can we put these things together? And if we don't take those into account, we're limiting our understanding of prophecy itself. Yeah. Okay, so when we look at the little season, is it possible that, because we're all like, how long is a little season? Some people are saying 250 years. Some people say it starts in 1776. Some people are, have said 500 years. I've heard we've done a video on it that I think it was in 2nd Ezra 14. We found 3 different alterations of that chapter where the words were changed. It's crazy. Yeah.
The time frame was
and I think we were kind of saying it was around 400 and something years was the little season. Yeah. However, could it be the little season actually little? It's short. Yeah. It's just a tiny season. And I have thought this for a while just based on one thing, and that's Gog Magog. We don't know when the little season began. We don't know when it ended, if it did end. Yeah. Or if it has, when the ending's coming. A lot of people, a lot of us believe we're still in the little season right now. Right. So the thing that I think we can kind of trace back is Gog Magog. And understanding who this is. I think people all throughout history have tried to understand who, Gog and Magog is. The Gog, it's either Gog from the land of Magog or Gog and Magog, two different people. So it's really interesting to understand. So why would that even matter? Well, it's at the end of the little season. You can read the next verse.
Verse 7, and when the 1,000 years have ended, Satan shall be released from his prison, and he shall go out and to lead the nations astray, which are in the 4 corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together for battle, whose number is as the sand of the sea. You read the next one? And they camp up over the breadth of the earth and surround the camp of the set apart ones and the beloved city, and fire came down from Elohim out of the heaven and consumed them.
Okay, so this is kind of a time marker. If we knew who Gog Magog was, or is to be, we can determine kind of where we are in this little season, because obviously he's released for a little season. He gathers all the armies, Gog and Magog, to battle against the set apart city and the camp of the saints. Okay, so the question is, has this happened? Yeah. Has that Gog Magog war happened? So it's very interesting when we go through, if y'all have watched any of our Daniel videos, I have been teasing this, not really teasing it, but mentioning it multiple times that I believe the Gog Magog war happened. I believe the little season is actually over. And I've said this multiple times, and wanting to do a video on it. We've had many people ask us about it and want us to explain. And so I'm going to try to do the best I can at least doing, at least for this video. I think we'll probably do this in a couple parts because there's so much information. Okay. to talk about. I don't think we can probably fit it all in 1 hour, but we'll try to.
Okay.
Um,
Well, and I'm going to ask a question, and you can say I'll address it later, or answer it now because I don't want to derail you.
no, you're not derailing me.
Going.
No, you're not derailing me.
But the question I would naturally ask is if it's over, based on what I just read in verses 8 and 9. What point the Gog Magog battle is over, and they have, where are we at? I guess if it's over, then where are we at in the timeline? Specifically, like where are we at in the timeline? And you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, that would be the natural question,
right.
To understand, what's going down right now. Mm-hmm. So is Satan still around? It doesn't necessarily, like I said, take a step back, have an open mind, read this. Is it immediate after Gog and Magog that Satan's destroyed? Or is he left
to wander?
Well, basically, he gets to deceive all the nations. He gets freedom to, I'm going to deceive all the nations, gather them all up from the Gog Magog War. He's going to, Yahuwah destroys with fire, destroys them. Mm-hmm. What happens to Satan?
Mm-hmm. And it says he's thrown into the lake of fire and sulfur where the beast and false prophet are.
Yes.
But maybe
does it happen immediately after?
Or does the fire come? Would you say that the fire came down from Elohim out of heaven and consumed them? Meaning
consume Gog and Magog. That's prophesied in Ezekiel.
Okay. Yes.
So, and we'll get there too.
Yeah.
We'll get there too. But what's interesting is, like I said, take a step back. Mm-hmm. Is he destroyed immediately after, or is his little season, is that where he can basically go against the world unencumbered? Mm-hmm. Are these times when he can go to the earth and just do whatever he wants? Same thing with Revelation 12. Revelation 12 tells you that after Messiah comes, the man-child is taken up into Elohim. Mm-hmm. He was the one to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and he's taken up to Elohim. After that, the dragon is shown in the heavens. Michael stands up. We went through all this in Daniel 12:1. Michael stands up, kicks Satan out of heaven. Mm-hmm. Satan comes down, and it says, "Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth." And we can read it if we want to, but it says, "Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth, Satan has come down to you." And he goes after the ones that keep the commandments of Elohim, the testimony of Yeshua. All right, so he's going after the remnant of the seed of the woman, which is Israel. Okay? By the way, it's commandments. Again, people who keep the commandments. But anyways, okay. So, I mean, he's going down unencumbered. Michael just destroyed him, knocked him out of heaven, and he's going down unencumbered. Does he get destroyed again? Does Michael stand up again? I think we have a period of 1,335 years in Daniel 12 that Michael is destroying Satan. And I think we have that historically. We have the Michael-Apollo line, which we talked about, all the way from Israel through Ireland, probably beyond Ireland, but now it's underwater. Probably all the way up into Greenland, all the way to the camp of the saints in paradise, I would say. Okay, I would say those things, but we just know the ones from Ireland to Jerusalem. But these are the places where Michael stood against Hasatan, where he apparently destroyed Hasatan, knocked him down again, or put him under again, many times. So is Satan out today? That's the question. Is he really out today? We think we live in like a horrible time. We quote that chronological history book all the time. Mm-hmm. If you're a part of our channel, we always quote this book, Chronological History of Earth, Weather, Meteors, something like that.
Yeah, but Thomas Short.
Thomas Short.
See, I know his name by now.
Yeah, Thomas Short. Yeah, written in the 1700s. The world was horrible. The world was way worse than it's ever been.
It was a place of destruction.
It was so bad for everywhere from
the whole Earth.
Yeah, from the whole Earth, probably from 70 AD until about 1700s.
Yeah.
Really bad in 500s and really bad in the 1500s. That 1,000-year gap right there.
Yeah.
But anyways, I don't know that we live in that bad of a world right now. Mm-hmm. Sin-wise, yes, it's ready for destruction. It could be those days of Noah, the days like Noah, where people are just living their lives. They don't care. They're sinning and they don't even care.
Yeah.
So it could be in that time frame, but is Satan walking around freely right now? If he was, would there be utter destruction? Will he be released? Is he bound right now and waiting to be released again? My guess is that when Satan is released, it's not, there's I would just say that when the times when Satan's release is when the whole world can't even stand, when the whole world's ready for destruction. Just my opinion. Okay, so when we're talking about a little season that is released, I do believe this was in the 1500s. I'm working with an ongoing theory that the little season was only 3.5 years. Okay, and there's reasons I think this.
Okay.
And we're going to get into that. There's going to be, I think, probably multiple parts because I don't know how we're going to continue to
All
go.
right. Well, where were you going to jump to first before I ask my question?
Okay, so we got to, so if the Gog Magog War happened, okay, we got to determine, well, who are they? How did it happen? And why is it scrubbed from history? Why don't we see this in history? Why aren't we, talking about Gog Magog? Why aren't we talking about this war?
To make us believe that it's not happened yet.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, and same thing when we have Millennial Kingdom. They call it the Dark Ages. They turn everything. Everything is turned, into some.
Counterfeit.
It's a counterfeit, so we can forget. When we look at Guildhall, I'll probably put a picture of this Guildhall in Europe, or it's in England, I think. In England, the Guildhall is where they have the commemoration. Well, I'll just say it. They have Gog Magog statues. It's been there since I think it's since the 1500s. The Gog Magog statues are different from the ones that were originally there. But why do you put up a statue? Do you put up a statue for something future or to commemorate something?
From past.
Yeah, for the past. I mean, we have, all kinds of, we live here in the South, so we have all kinds of Civil War statues here commemorating the Civil War, not talking about a future Civil War.
Yeah.
I think that's something, a telltale sign right there. We have Gog Magog statues talking about the Gog Magog giants.
Yeah.
And so.
In a festival, right?
Yeah, a festival that they do. They do a whole parade and everything. I think this has been going on for hundreds of years. But it's very interesting. Guildhall in itself is really interesting.
Didn't it burn down and they rebuilt it or something?
Yeah. I mean, all these cathedrals have burned down at some point. Okay. But, okay, so determining, so I've mentioned this before. There are 2 Gog and Magog wars mentioned in Scripture. All right. Okay. Some people believe it's one and the same. And there's a problem with the chronological order of Ezekiel or Revelation. I actually believe it's not. I believe it's ordered correctly. And that what we have is, in fact, a prophecy for 2 Gog Magog wars.
Yeah.
If we can, we'll turn real quick to Ezekiel. All right, so if we're just going chronologically, okay, let's just read it like a little child, okay? Read Ezekiel. You have Ezekiel 37. This is the dry bones. Oh, we got to do a video about this. I'm afraid to say something because it's so crazy.
Don't say it.
Okay.
Just hold.
Ezekiel 37.
Listen to what you said earlier. Hold.
That's right. That's right.
You should hold.
Yes, Ezekiel 37, real quick, is way crazier than I ever thought. I think just from things that we have been led to, I think that this happened in history and that everyone knows about it and we're reminded of it yearly. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. All right, so what's amazing is Ezekiel 37. Ezekiel 37 is a resurrection event. Okay, so we're talking about a resurrection. Like we said, cyclical things. How many resurrections are in Scripture? There's 3. There could be more. There could be way more, and I'm totally okay with that. I think that's amazing. But when we have 3...
3's more than some people think. So.
Yes, we have 3 prophesied resurrection events, okay? We have 1. This is the one prophesied in Daniel 12. It's also prophesied in Enoch. There's multiple places. It's a resurrection with Messiah. When Messiah is crucified, he goes down and preaches to the souls in Sheol. It's the ending. It's the ending of the 5.5 years or the 5.5 days that are prophesied in the book of Adam and Eve, the Testament of Adam. These are the resurrection of the righteous in Sheol. Okay, this was Adam. This was all of them that were stuck down there and got to come out, and they were resurrected when Yeshua went down. There's so much written about this in Pilate. The Acts of Pilate talk about that this even happened in Rome. There was even people resurrecting all over the earth. It wasn't just in Judea. It wasn't just this small, few little numbers that's mentioned in Matthew. It was all over the world. It's a huge resurrection event at the crucifixion. It's incredible. It's also mentioned in the Gospel of Nicodemus. There's some other places where it's talked about. Okay, so this is not Ezekiel 37, in my opinion. Okay. They were resurrected. Ezekiel 37 is the first resurrection before the millennial kingdom. This is what's prophesied in Revelation 20. The first resurrection, I believe the first fruits
Yeah.
was with Messiah.
So Revelation 20, when it talks about those that are beheaded for the cause
Yes.
of Christ, those are the people that you're talking about.
Yes,
Okay.
these are the I don't know if it would have been Israel, the lost tribes of Israel, after they heard about the gospel, after they heard about Yeshua, the gospel of the kingdom, after they repented, because he came for the lost tribes of Israel. So if he had a 3-year ministry, is that first fruits resurrection, is that just including the lost tribes of Israel? I don't think so. I think this is Israel in 37, Ezekiel 37. This is the dry bones of Israel. So these are the tribes. These are the people who ran away.
Okay.
Messiah comes. The Bezorah is preached throughout the whole world. Gospel.
what?
The gospel, the good news.
Okay.
The good
Besorah.
news is,
Besorah.
yeah,
That's what you said.
Besorah?
Yes.
Is
Okay.
preached throughout the whole world. Okay, Paul tells you it went throughout the whole world. Everyone heard it. Every single creature, including all the crazy things, all the crazy creatures. We're going to talk about them, the satyrs, centaurs, all those. Okay,
Yep.
they all heard the gospel. Okay, even the cynocephalus.
Yeah.
You
That's
know.
something that never resonated with me until I met you. Preach the gospel to every creature. That was
Yes.
that blew my mind. But go ahead. Anyway,
Yeah, it was for the whole. It was for everything. The good news, the kingdom is coming. Repent, for the
Yeah.
kingdom is not.
Yeah.
Okay, so it goes out, it preaches, and then you get your first fruits resurrection already happened with crucifixion. Then you wait. You count your weeks. Okay, your Shavuot. All right, you count for Shavuot, which is 49. It's 7 complete
sevens.
Sabbaths.
7 sets of 7.
7 sets of 7. So it could be 4,900 years. It could be 490 years, which I believe it's 490 years. So around the 4th century, 5th century, you had another resurrection. I believe this is the resurrection in Ezekiel 37. Okay. If it's not, that's fine. But we believe that the millennial kingdom was between 500 and 1500, the so-called dark ages.
Okay.
And this just agrees with the gospel of Nicodemus, the proto-evangelion of James. Many writings, they all knew that 500 years after Messiah, I'm just going to go over this for anyone who doesn't know. Yeshua, then we go with the LXX timeline, which is older than Masoretic.
LXX is the Septuagint.
Septuagint timeline, which is older than Masoretic. It's supported by many writings, okay? All your first century writings, they were not reading the Masoretic. They weren't reading King James. They weren't reading the NIV.
'Cause-
They were reading the LXX or a Paleo version.
Because the Masoretic was written by rabbis in what century?
Well, it was developed between the 2nd century and probably even up until the 7th century.
Okay, but
So-
after the disciples.
After the disciples by rabbis who did not believe in Mashiach.
Yes.
Okay, that's where our KJV came from. That's where the timeline was changed by over 1,500 years.
Okay.
Okay, so when we go to LXX, okay, Yeshua came in the year 5,500, according to the LXX, according to, I mentioned this before, Testament of Adam and the Book of Adam and Eve. Nicodemus, the Gospel of Nicodemus talks about this. There's multiple Gospels that they won't allow you to read because they're supposed to be Gnostic. Don't listen to them. Go read them. They're fascinating.
Whoever them is.
Whoever them are. Go read these amazing Gospels. They're fascinating, but they all believe in the LXX timeline. Okay, so 5,500. What happens 500 years later? That's the year 6,000, or the beginning of the 7th millennium. The 7th millennium, a day is 1,000 years to Yahweh. The 7th millennium is the beginning of the 7th day of the week, the Shabbat for the world.
The rest.
The rest, the Sabbath rest for the world. They all knew this. They all knew that it was coming.
Which makes sense. We say this time and time again. The sense of urgency that is proclaimed by everyone in the New Testament.
Yes, the New Testament is written in
Because
haste.
they knew what was going to go down and when it was going to go down. Like
Yeah.
they knew.
Yeah, everyone knew the kingdom's coming.
Yeah.
Get ready. By the way, we talked about this in our Daniel study, the kingdom is forever. It's not just 1,000 years. The
Doesn't
1,000
just
years,
begin.
yeah, the 1,000 years is more so about how long the saints are going to rule and how long Hasatan is bound.
Yeah.
Yes, Yeshua ruled. He is still here right now. He is King of Kings, Lord of Lords. He is my King. I believe he's still ruling right now. So anyways, so when we look, I don't know where I was going with that, but when we look at the timeline, that's why we believe around 500 to 1,500 is when the millennial kingdom started. Okay. Now the kingdom, I do believe at the advent of Messiah, it was planted. Okay, that's why he gives you the parable of the seed. The mustard seed is this kingdom, because it begins with a tiny little seed planted, which brings forth a tiny shoot. That shoot grows into a small little plant, into a small tree, and then eventually is a huge tree where all the birds of the fowls of the air can lodge. Okay, so when we talk about the tree being planted, that seed being planted, that's the body, the shell of a body of Messiah that's planted into the earth for 3 days. It rose up again, starting the kingdom. It's that little tiny shoot, that little tiny, seedling that came out to start the kingdom. And then the disciples got on board, producing the kingdom throughout the whole world. The 70 went out, more nations started turning, and then eventually by 500 years later, 490 years later,
According to Daniel.
Well, no. Well, this would have been. This would have been. Well, I was kind of going back to this, but
I'm sorry.
But anyways, yeah,
Yes,
500 years later,
Yeah.
you have the kingdom here on earth. They actually brought on the kingdom. Okay. And there's so much we could talk about the resurrection.
Well, because you were trying to go to 38.
It's so exciting. I really want to talk about it because it's fascinating. My mind is blown. Okay. But anyways, okay. So let's go back. 38. So if we just read this in order, okay? Let's just read it like little kids. 37.
I love that. I want to be a little kid.
Yeah. 37, we have resurrection.
We were so much to try to become an adult, and then when you become an adult, and you're like, man, this is like too much. We want to be a little kid again.
It's a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot. So 37 is amazing. Ezekiel 37. Man, I'm just seeing so much. So this has got to be multiple parts because I haven't even gotten into the 6 books I have in front of me. Okay. So we have a resurrection event 37. The 2 twigs, or the 2 sticks brought together. Is that right here? And when the children of the sun, behold, Ephraim. Yes, Ephraim, which became 19. The tribes, which became the Gentiles. Ephraim would have been the tribe of Israel. The Gentiles are brought back by what? The light to the nations. Yeshua was meant to be a light to the nations. A banner was set up for the nations, an ensign. What kind of ensign? What kind of banner was a light to the nations? Like, what did the nations fight with? What did they put on their shields? What did they put on their sailboats and all these things as they went across the whole earth? What did they do?
What was that sign?
It was the Tav. Okay? Now, I know people do not like the cross. It's okay. It's okay. I didn't like it either. Okay? I thought it was wrong. But I don't think it's wrong anymore. And here's why. We read about it so many times throughout the prophets that a banner will be given, an ensign, a symbol will be given to the Gentiles to lead them to light. Okay? We have...
what verse?
Well, we have... in chapter 30, I'm just kind of going through just a rough chronological rough
explanation.
I guess a rough draft, just so I don't have to read everything.
Okay, go ahead.
But if we go to the end of 37, this is the covenant of peace that's set up. David, my servant, shall be a king over them, and they all shall have one shepherd, and they shall also walk in my judgments and observe my statutes and do them. He was not a lawless Messiah. He came and taught the judgments, the statutes, the commandments, and they actually did them. They were holy people. Okay? And they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob, my servant. Where is this land? I think that's incredible. Wherein your fathers have dwelt, and they shall dwell therein, even they and their children's children forever. And my servant David shall be their prince forever. Obviously, I'm okay with this if this is David. But I do believe there are instances where it does talk about this being Mashiach. I do believe this is Yeshua, the son of David. This is a descendant of David.
Yeah, when we just read this in Enoch 48, where it says, he shall be a staff to the righteous. Basically a shepherd. He shall be a staff to the righteous, whereon to stay themselves and not fall, and he shall be the light to the Gentiles.
A light to the Gentiles, a staff for the righteous. Yeah.
Like a shepherd, what he just says.
Yeah. He's leading the righteous to peaceful habitations.
Yeah.
And he is a light to the Gentiles. Let me just keep reading verse 26. Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. Shall be an everlasting covenant with them, and I will place them and multiply them, and I will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forevermore. Okay? I think this is amazing. The covenant of peace. This is, we could do a whole video on this. I love the covenant of peace. I've got so many verses written down for the covenant of peace. It's in Nahum. It's in Isaiah. It's in Ezekiel, another place in Ezekiel. It's in so many places. Enoch. This covenant of peace. What was that? It was peace, goodwill toward man. It was the covenant, the new covenant, the Beret Kodesh. This is like the new covenant to man. And I know people want to say it's a renewed covenant. It is renewed in a sense, because it does involve some of the old covenant, but it's peace. You can come now to paradise. By my blood, you can come to paradise. Okay? He doesn't say anyone's welcome. But if you continue in unrighteousness, there's no sacrifice for sins. There's no more sacrifice for sins.
Right.
There's no more grace for sins. You've lost it. Paul talks about this. Okay. So anyways, all right. I went way longer than I should have on chapter 37. But if we go to Ezekiel 38, all of a sudden we're talking about Gog and Magog.
Yes.
Why is Gog Magog come up here? We have a resurrection event. We have the covenant of peace established. We have the two sticks brought together. Basically, he's bringing back the lost tribes, the children of Israel, and he's getting those who are righteous. He's bringing them in. Okay, this is a call to paradise. It's not the last call to paradise, but I believe it's in Second Ezra 2. I think this is when Ezra's seeing a vision of them standing on a mountain. And there's one like the Son of Man standing in the midst of these children. It's the ones she desired, the full number that Israel desired to come in.
Okay.
And so the ones that were already righteous got resurrected with Yeshua, the first fruits. They were already righteous. They believed in the Torah. They followed it. They believed in Messiah. They followed it. They even lost their lives. The prophets lost their lives. So they got resurrected. Now the gospel, Yeshua has showed up. He's preaching the kingdom, by the way, and the gospel goes out to all nations. By the way, Yeshua is not just, he doesn't just crucify, go up, and he's there for forever. We have him appearing over Jerusalem in 70 AD. Josephus talks about this. I think even Philo talks about it. And then we have the book He Walked the Americas. We have things even here in America where they're saying they see him. There's a lot of gospels too where they were seeing Yeshua
As a child.
I mean, they're seeing him multiple places, and so he wasn't just gone. So he was here. Okay, so he's preaching. He's basically promoting peace, which is one reason why he's going around throwing up the peace sign.
Can I go back to that real quick? I mean, obviously, he is, Messiah, but was he able to go back and forth because, like, kind of sort of transcending the veil?
Yeah,
As part of the Melchizedek priesthood? Was that part of
That's a great question. No,
that wasn't planned.
I think you were. Yeah. No.
It sounded like planted, but it's not.
Yeah.
As you're talking about that, because you would, in my mind, growing up, I would think, okay, he sits at the right hand of the Father until he comes back and rules for the millennial kingdom for 1,000 years. He's sitting up there the whole time. But like you said, there are quite a few examples within the text that show that he was coming back and forth. He was going back and forth.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know, because the Melchizedek priesthood, in the order of the ancients, right? Talks about this.
Sure. I mean, even John's having a vision of Messiah. I mean, he's seeing him coming back and forth. And when we talk about, like you mentioned, the order of the ancients, the writings of Abraham, they give a lot of information on the Melchizedek priesthood. Okay, so, man, there's so much information surrounding Melchizedek. I mean, I've heard sermons my whole life on this.
Yeah.
You literally, if you stick to the canon, you have like three or four verses, and where so many people are stumbling over the Melchizedek priesthood to do away with the Torah. Okay, and I'm not saying listen, I was there too. Okay, but I don't think we should use two verses in Hebrews, two verses in Hebrews to do away with the Torah.
Yeah.
The Torah is forever,
or even parts of it.
When we read the Torah, it's forever. Okay. So that makes me, if I know all this, I know that David thinks it's forever in the Psalms. Not only does David, Moses wrote about it forever. It's mentioned forever, all of it, all the testimonies, all the precepts, everything, all the statutes. This includes sacrifices, everything.
Going down a...
I know. But the thing is, it's like when we read all this and then we go to Hebrews and we got a verse that says, there's a change in the priesthood. There has to be a change in the law. Okay, wait a second. One verse, and we're going to stumble over the whole thing. Okay, why don't we take an alternate interpretation of that verse or translation of that verse? It doesn't mean the translators had it right. And it says by a transfer of the priesthood, there was a transfer to the law, or of the law. The priest, their duty is to teach the law. So if there's no Levitical priest system right now today, because it's been wiped out, then we have a Melchizedek priest that will do the duty instead of the Levitical priests, and the law is transferred to him. Okay, because it's his job to teach us the law. Just like Isaiah wrote, Yeshua would magnify the law. He doesn't do away with it, he magnifies it, makes it even better.
Right.
And so what we're doing with Melchizedek is a eternal priesthood. It is a heavenly priesthood, a spiritual priesthood, while the Levitical priesthood is a priesthood for the earth. Okay, the earth on earth as it's in heaven. Their job is to mimic the Melchizedek priesthood. And by the way, it's all prophesied. The Levitical priesthood is to come back, is to be forever.
Yeah.
Multiple times. It's never ending. And when I say never ending, meaning it's promised to be forever. Now, are there times when it doesn't? Yeah, because of their sin. It's the same thing with, if you don't sin, you live forever. You can have eternal life.
Sure.
But if you sin, you give up eternal life. It doesn't mean that I'm just saying, like, if you continue in sin and deny the power of Messiah and deny these things. But anyways,
Death waits.
Death waits. Yeah. I mean, that's a
Sorry,
total sidebar, but you're right. Melchizedek, the prophecies about a Melchizedek priesthood, which by the way, there are many Melchizedek priests. Yeshua is not the only one, probably the final one. I'm okay with that.
That's what I think so.
I'm okay with. I think that's scriptural. I'm just saying probably because I'm thinking if there's anything that would disagree with that. I think he is the final one. But there's many. Shem being one of them. Elijah was probably one. Even the people that probably didn't die, like
Enoch.
Baruch, Ezra, Enoch, they probably all ended up being some sort of Melchizedek priest. So anyway,
Just what we read in Enoch. I mean, he's constantly going up to heaven, coming down. I mean, he's just. I mean, I know they're visions, but I mean,
no, he is
I
going
think he's
up
going.
and down.
Yeah, so he's transcending that veil between heaven and earth.
Yeah,
right.
And that's the prophecy that
There's only
I
a
think
few
it's
people
in the
that-
writings of Abraham,
Yeah.
or it could be the Word of the Ancients, either one of those two books. But it is that the Melchizedek would be able to transcend the veil between heaven and earth.
Yeah.
And so both spiritual and physical at the same time.
Okay.
So
Okay. So that answers my question. Thank you.
yeah, okay. So we have a prophecy against Gog. This is really interesting because 39, we have a prophecy against Gog as well, and you can read it 39 too.
Oh, you want me to read it?
Oh, you can read 39 1 and 2. Yeah.
Okay. And you, son of man, prophesy against Gog, and you shall say, Thus says the Master Yahuwah, See, I am against you, O Gog, the prince of Rosh, Meshech, and Tubal, and shall turn you around and lead you on, and bring you up from the uttermost parts of the north, and bring you against the mountains of Israel.
Okay, so what's interesting is we have in the KJV 39:2, and I will turn thee back and leave but the sixth part of thee, and will cause thee to come up from the north parts and bring thee upon the mountains of Israel. Now we already talked about, if you read in Ezekiel 38, we already have Gog being destroyed by hell, fire, and brimstone, basically. And now he's going to be destroyed by fire in Ezekiel 39.
Okay.
And it's interesting that KJV has a sixth part in
Yeah.
there. I'm not really sure why. But my guess would be that KJV is written, obviously KJV was 1611. So it is post 1500s, which we believe is the last Gog Magog War.
Yeah.
It's one of the last Gog Magog Wars. So this sixth part, is it possible that the translators of the KJV inserted something here, understanding that a sixth part was left of Gog Magog?
It's crazy.
Isn't that?
That's wild to think that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's possible that
That's a good
they
theory.
understood and they inserted something here. So what we have in Ezekiel, we have a Gog Magog War. We also have another Gog Magog War. And then after this, we seem to have, description about the temple in the millennial kingdom, the Zadok priests that kept the charge. They basically take over the priestly duties. Zadok priests are Levites, by the way. They do their sacrifices in the temple, their Sabbaths, their burnt offerings, all the things. Killing of animals, all the stuff in the millennial kingdom. And this goes on basically for the rest of Ezekiel. We could get really into that, but this is not about Ezekiel. And we've kind of gone through this with our temple studies. We're going to do another video about that because we have a lot more stuff written down about the temple.
Yeah.
And so you can go back. We do believe this temple in Ezekiel, it was the Dome of the Rock, or is still the Dome of the Rock. It's the longest standing temple of Yahweh and it was not built for the Muslims. We believe it was built at the same time the Holy Sepulchre was built. It was built by Christians and Jews alike. They built it to mimic that of Solomon's temple, round with 8 sides, octagon shape. Also the dome mimicking the firmament, just as we believe the tabernacle was a dome, probably with 8 sides, probably with a dome in the middle. Okay. There is a prophecy, man, real quick, I just got to say it. There is a prophecy that was known during Josephus' day and before the temple was destroyed, that when the temple is made 4 square, destruction comes upon the temple. So they purposely knocked down some walls to make it 4 square so that it would be destroyed. This was what the Pharisees were doing. Okay, so are you finding a different alternate?
I was, but go ahead. It's okay.
So I think that's really interesting. Why is there a 6th part in the KJV? I think there's a possibility that they knew something and inserted it here. So, all right.
Okay.
We're an hour in. Okay, so that leads us. We have 2 Gog Magog Wars established here. We have one pre-millennial kingdom, pre-temple of the millennial kingdom in Ezekiel, specifically Ezekiel 38 and 39. And we have a Gog Magog War at the short season, at the little season, at the release of Hasatan after the millennial kingdom, after the 1,000-year reign. He's released, gets all the people together for the Gog Magog War. Okay. There's so much more. Okay. So please come back for part 2. All right. Because this was kind of like a short introduction.
Okay. What's part 2 gonna do you have in your mind, kind of what you're gonna tackle in the
Yes.
second
Part 2 is who is Gog Magog?
Okay.
And why has it been hidden from us? So we have this nation that took over the entire world, the majority of the world, even here in the Americas, if we look on the old maps. And not many people really know much about this nation. There's a lot of speculative stuff on the internet, but this nation is Tartaria. And so when we look at the actual history of Tartaria, where it came from, the people of Tartaria, and the tribes of Tartaria, the 22 nations of Tartaria, we can determine that who they are and why the Gog Magog War is actually over.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Now, here's a caveat. There is a chance that KJV puts this little thing in here, the 6th part is left after the fire. The fire destroys, fire comes down from heaven, destroys them. When they try to take over the city, there is a book called The Way of Cathay, which is absolutely incredible because the Christians, the Pope, and Tartaria team up together to take back the city of Jerusalem in the 1500s. Scary stuff. Something destroys them. Something takes them down. And all of a sudden, Tartaria is wiped out from the maps. Very interesting. And then, then all of a sudden you have all these wars, rumors of wars happening after this time frame. Oh man, we could just go until we got Napoleon, who is the Apollyon. The Apollyon comes back, the destroyer. Okay, so anyways, so that's kind of what we're going to talk about next time. And I'm going to show you that this was the common belief in that time frame, in the Dark Ages, what we know as the Dark Ages or medieval times. This was the common belief that they were living in the year of Jesus, the year of Jesus, Yeshua. They believed they were living in the millennial kingdom.
Yeah.
And that Gog Magog was in the sides of the north. They were waiting for Gog Magog to come destroy them. Everyone was fearful of Gog Magog. They knew who they were. And so this is why it's wiped out from our history maps. If you were Hasatan, you want everyone to forget history and where and when you failed, when you gathered all nations together to fight against the camp of the saints, to destroy those evil saints and destroy the beloved city. You want the whole world to forget that it ended in utter defeat and your whole army was destroyed by fire from heaven.
Yeah.
Why not lie to the whole world and get them to forget Tartaria? Get them to forget this nation that once was gathered from the breadth of the whole earth and went against the beloved city and the camp of the saints.
Or quite possibly give you a different understanding of who Tartaria is.
Yes, that's a huge deal. Tartaria right now, we've got a lot of people in this millennial kingdom idea that think Tartaria was the saints.
Yeah, that's common. That's a common belief.
That is a common
predominantly
belief.
Common belief. Yeah.
But I'm going to show you. I'm going to read older books. It's not my ideas. It's not my I'm going to just read books from that time. What people thought, what they're saying about where these people came from, their descendants, and everything. So we're going to talk about that on part 2. Hopefully this is interesting. I think this is incredible because it really does kind of give us an idea of the little season, how long it lasted. And I do believe it's prophesied that it was only 3.5 years. Okay.
All right.
That's truly a short little season.
Tiny.
And we'll probably end this this might be like a 3-part series or whatever. We'll end this series. Well, we got to talk. This will take these books. I've got a lot of books right here in front of me. These books will take a whole video to go through because we didn't even get to them.
And we'll try to read the title slowly for anybody that
because
we read these things very fast, and I can't link everything just because I don't even half the stuff you get from thrift books or eBay or it's not like a bunch of reprints of this stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll name the books and who the author is, and you can go find it. So.
Yeah. And I was going to say something.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Oh, no. So while we would do another part is because what now? Like, I know everyone's questioning, like, if this little season's over, what time frame are we in now? So there's actually a lot written about this time frame. And I do believe this time frame is the judgment of the Watchers. So all judgment is coming to an end, my opinion, very shortly. And so I think that's what we all feel. The judgment of the Watchers, the judgment of the nations, everything's coming to a head. So
until next time. Until next time, thanks for joining us, and we hope you have a blessed day. We love you guys.
Yeah, shalom.
Bye.